it's Bethany from Ludlam Family Farm. In this video, I'll be sharing the plumbing, septic, water, and drywall. When we started this container home process, we weren't sure what we were going to do about the bathroom. We thought about doing a composting toilet, and if we were going to be the only ones living in here, we would have done just that. But we won't be the only ones using this, and we really didn't want to be responsible for cleaning up after others. Composting toilets cost around $1,400, and that's for one that looks most similar to a traditional toilet. So since we were already factoring in the cost, we decided to spend the extra and go with a regular flushing toilet. We are on a septic system, but our system is 600 feet away from the container. We talked with a friend who does this all the time, and he recommended putting in a sub-septic with a pump and running the lines to our system 600 feet away. This cost us $6,000 and took 2 days of work. They dug the trench and laid all the lines. They were also able to run our water lines in the same trench, so that helped keep the cost down. Our water went to our pump house that's only 300 feet away. So the guys have been out here all day. The water lines are done. They have been run. And I'm going to show you here what we have for the septic. So they're just kind of laying out all the pipe that'll go to our septic system over there. So I think they're probably going to come back and do that tomorrow. It's getting late. It's like 7:30. So we're going to go see what they're up to. But they've been working hard since pretty early this morning.
Toilet there, sink vanity. Our shower ended up right here in the middle of this pier and cinder block, so we're digging a trench around it. And then lastly, our kitchen sink is right here. So we'll have 1.5 inches. It'll come out here to this blue mark. It'll run over 1.5 inches from the shower. And this pitches the whole way down. It's on a pitch down to the sub-septic, which has a strong pump in it to push everything from there to our main septic system. And your 4-inch toilets there, that'll be the main stack. So you got 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, where that white thing's at, pitching down to our 4-inch for a toilet. We'll have a main vent stack here that'll run up the backside. Every plumbing setup needs at least a main vent if everything else has a P-trap on it. So we'll have 3 P-traps, so no sewage. Gases will get in the house if they come back, which they'll come back from here. They'll hit this 3-inch main vent first, and it'll vent out the stack. It won't be able to come in the house because there'll be water in the P-traps. busy few days out here at Ludlam Family Farm. We got our septic system and our water line installed. You can't see it, but it's right there to the right side of that 5-gallon gas can. Sorry. Yeah, we got our septic here. It's coming in. You see our main 4-inch stack, which has got a vent and then a clean out right here. So if you ever got something stuck in this main, you can put a snake down there or something and clean it out. You can also clean out at the tank. And then it has an overflow option. So if you get a backup, because this is pumping 530 feet to our main septic, which is pretty far. And basically, if you get a backup, there's 2-inch holes on the top of this system here. So instead of that water backflowing into your house, your shower, your drains, your sinks, that poop water would actually, the backflow would be right here in the yard or something. That way you could catch it and fix it before it's getting in your house and you're showering in it. So we're going to set that up in the next few days as well. And I'm just going to have like an overflow that runs somewhere over here. It is illegal to run them to the ditches. You can't just run a septic tank to a ditch. You'll get a huge fine for that. So we're not doing that, but we do want to have a system that if it's overflowing, we can fix it without there being sewage in the house or in the tiny house, the container. So that's what we got going on here at the farm. It's been a busy few days. We've been working all in poison ivy, poison sumac, and man, it's been a time. I've gotten it 3 times this year, but we're getting through it. We're almost done. We got a lot of rain here recently, so whenever you bring the machines out in the rain, big skid steers, big excavators, minis, even with track systems, it makes a huge mess. So this was nice and graded, and the chicken house was graded, and the tracks really just, any machine, I have a machine with tires and the same thing, it just makes a really big mess on these wet days. But sometimes you have no choice. You got certain days you can work and people can get over, and you just got to roll with it. So that's what we're doing.
The plumbing for the container wasn't too difficult. We have a sink in the kitchen with hot and cold, another sink in the bathroom, along with a shower and toilet. We went with a tankless water heater for a few reasons. It saves space and money. We might actually switch to one in our home if we like it. Now that the electric and plumbing is complete, we can hang the drywall. The most important thing is making sure that your cuts end on a stud so you have something to drill into. If you don't, you'll need to add a nailer or you'll get sags in your drywall and it won't look right. So much of the big work is done on the container. We have the lean-to and the deck to do next. The lean-to is a really important part of this project because it'll absorb a lot of the heat and keep water off the container. It'll also be really nice for the aesthetic of the container's look. We will have a deck coming off the front of the container with a fire pit. We will need to add some landscaping, and that should be about it now for the exterior.
Alright, so we got our drywall up here in the kitchen, and we got our ceiling drywall up. Luckily, my stepdad and a guy that did some contracting work for him who lives up the street had this machine that you put the drywall on, and you can crank this wheel up for the ceiling, and it helps a lot if you're installing drywall by yourself. You can install drywall on the ceiling by yourself with that machine. I had someone help me for a few hours one night. We hung like 4 or 5 sheets on the ceiling, and now we're just mudding all of our drywall screws. We screwed them in about 1/16 of an inch into the drywall, so we're just skimming over it, and then we're going to sand it down. We're putting the minimal amount of mud over these screws. So once we hit it, here you guys can't see there, but you can probably see, here'd be a good example. Like once you hit it, you want to scrape all the excess off and leave as minimal as possible.
I was going to say, we made that mistake in our Florida house.
Yeah,
we were like 20.
The less mud, the better. It's better to do like 2 or 3, 4 rounds of mudding at very light skims. You should only have to hit these screws like once, maybe twice. But these lines here where your drywall seams line up, we put this tape on them. And this tape's a little bit more expensive, but it actually sticks to the wall. So you can stick it to the wall and then mud right over top of it. And the first run on your seams, you can run a little thick, as you see I did here, and I did leave some excess, because you're going to end up hitting these seams at least 3 times. And every time you hit it, you're going to go up a size in your joint knife, or your trowel, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to hit your smaller joint, and then you'll go up in size each time until you're like 3 or 4 times, until this is seamless and it all looks level and flat. And then up here in the corners, you can use a corner bead, or you can just use some tape. I got some different tape that'll just L up there to 90, and then you'll run some mud over it and it'll all look good. Lights will fill this. We cut out our light holes. Make sure you measure and know where your lights are going before you put up your ceiling drywall. The last thing you want to do is put it up and then poke 10, 20 holes in it trying to figure out where your electrical's at. So we actually wrote on the wall like where the lights are at and how far they are, so we know exactly where to go to find them. And then our wires are just sitting up there in the ceiling ready to connect to these recessed lights. The recessed lights come with a template that tells you how big the holes need to be. And then what's cool about these new lights versus the old school lights, they just clip right in. So this kind of goes up and it has tension on it. And once it goes up in the ceiling, it clips onto your drywall. So you don't need to be on any stud or anything like that. We're hoping to get all this done today. We waited to do here because we're waiting on our plumbing. We're going to bring our plumbing in. And that's about it. We should be done here soon, a few weeks out.
We are just 7 minutes from downtown Berlin, voted the coolest small town in America. They have some really cute shops and some antique stores. The container's exterior is modern industrial, and we plan on extending that into the inside of the container. But we wanted to find some pieces that are older and represent the area. We found some cool pieces in one of the antique shops that'll be perfect. Some postcards from the early 1900s and a 1960s Maryland license plate. For the interior, we need to paint, do the floors, kitchen, and hang all the lights. We are so close to being done. A majority of our budget has gone into things you won't see, like having running water, flushing a toilet, and electric. But these are all so important and just part of it. I did a video on clearing the land and building our driveway. Those two things alone took up $15,000 of our budget. Definitely not a fun thing to spend money on, but seeing our land go from major overgrowth to what it is now was exciting. The inside of the container is only 280 square feet with the drywall up. So making it beautiful won't take much of our budget, and that's good because we don't have much more to put into it. Once we are done with this entire project, we will do a video going over the entire cost of building the container and our final thoughts on it. Follow us on Instagram at Ludlam Family Farm for real-time updates on the container. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We would love to hear from you in the comments. We are working every day. Next we'll be adding the lean-to and the deck. Lots of little finishing touches to do. We are almost done and so excited. See you next time.